So after losing a video to corruption, I had to sit there refreshing the spirit board for a full week to regain certain battles. You're welcome. And that's why in this episode you may see me using spirits I don't necessarily have yet. Anyway, in this episode we're going to start off on the spirit board by facing off against Nia. In this incarnation, in this form, Nia is one of the drivers, one of the main characters from Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Although when you get further in the game, as you may have gathered by my tone, you start to learn more about her, and you realise there's more to her than meets the eye. Anyway, you've got Nia herself, as well as Incineroar, who is playing her blade, i.e. stand, Dromarch, or Dromarch. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Anyway, here is Rabid Peach from the Mario and Rabbids games. Oh god, there aren't more than one of those, don't worry. Anyway, I say that as if it's not a good game. Rabid Peach is a rabbit taking the form of Princess Peach, hence why we have a Peach with bunny ears who's going to be moving very quickly and evading me, because in combat, Rabid Peach was more about being evasive and healing allies. She was more of a cleric character, hence why this Peach is gradually healing. That represents Rabid Peach's special attack, or special ability, which is to literally heal. And also makes for quite an irritating battle. You've just got to try and get her to the edge of the screen. Like, just try and pull her to the left-hand side and throw her off the edge. Use the auto-scroll to your advantage. There we go. Then we have Fawful. So Fawful is a henchman character appearing in the first Mario and Luigi game for the Game Boy Advance. And he becomes the main antagonist of the third game in that series, Bowser's Inside Story. Fawful himself, he kind of gives off Major Zim energy. He speaks in very broken English, and he's very random and bizarre in his humour. I know as a teen I found him hilarious. Now I find him a little more grating. But what's interesting about him is he's this weird little bean creature, and he fights you with a little floating mech from a little floating pedestal. Hence why we had the robots in that fight. Anyway, here is Roll, speaking of robots. Roll is the female counterpart to Mega Man, so in fact, in Japan, Mega Man's name was Rock, and her name was Roll to counteract with him. Also created by Dr. Light, but I guess Dr. Light, being something of an old fuddy-duddy, a very old-fashioned individual, made Roll a lot more domesticated and a lot more of a maid in nature than Rock himself. I know in a lot of adaptations, like, they were created kind of as a counterpart to his family, or to, you know, serve as his potential family, but if that's the case, making your daughter your maid is not cool. Anyway, here is Master Beast. This one's gonna take a while to go into. So, the final boss of Super Smash Bros. 4, that is to say Smash for the Wii U and 3DS, essentially had you encounter a bunch of alternate forms for Master Hand if you defeated him at a high enough percentage. So, if say we're playing on the highest possible difficulty and you got Master Hand and or Crazy Hand to low health, they would essentially start shifting into different forms. The first one being a giant made out of a swarm of black particles. The second being a beast, the beast you see here, being played by Ridley, who would try and chomp on you and stamp on your head, hence why the battle is playing out this way. And then after that, even though we will be seeing them, he would then turn into a bunch of swords or edges, a clone of yourself, and then a giant goddamn fortress. Genuinely, might be the coolest final boss in all of Smash history. So yeah. Then again, I haven't necessarily fought Galeem yet, so, you know, I may be pleasantly surprised. Alrighty, so here are the Toadies from Yoshi's Island. I would be fighting them with Yoshi, or Yarn Yoshi, but he is currently in the gym. So the Toadies are a bunch of baby thieves. They work for Kamek and Baby Bowser, and when your baby meter gets too low, they're the ones who sweep in to steal Baby Mario. Quite horrifying when you really think about what they are and what purpose they serve. Being a bunch of baby thieves or kidnappers, but that said, they're being played here by a bunch of little Squirtles, so, you know, much like how they're basically little Koopas, they're a bunch of little turtles, red-shelled to signify the red coats, and with jetpacks to show their flight capabilities. Anyway, this last one here is not going to let me kill him with my very overpowered charge attack, so I'm going to be a bit more traditional, I think. Smash attack. There we are. This is Metal Gear Zeke. So this is the Metal Gear produced by the Military Sans Frontières, or the, you know, Army Without Borders, and Cypher in the game Peace Walker. This is the titular Peace Walker. So yeah, if you remember the Paz Spirit, and who doesn't, this is essentially tied to her. Goodbye. Kumatora! So this one's interesting. I erroneously stated in an earlier episode that Kumatora is related to Lucas. That's actually not the case. She is simply a friend of his, and as such, she fits the archetype, the same archetype, as both Anna and Paula from Mother 1 and 2. She is the girl who joins the party, who is a friend of the main character, and is also the glass cannon, using all of the offensive PK attacks. And here we have Alraune. So Alraune appears in Bayonetta 2 as a demon from Inferno, i.e. Hell. She's actually the one who kidnaps Bayonetta's, I'm just going to say it, girlfriend, Jean. And from a mythological or a literary standpoint, Alraune is based on a German novel about a humanoid mandrake hybrid created through artificial insemination who seduces and kills men. So yeah. Anyway, far different topic. Here is Severa, one of the time-travelling kids from Fire Emblem Awakening. She is the daughter of Cordelia, and whoever you pair Cordelia with. And she is quite an angry, sassy, rude character, but also a fantastic swordmaster with an incredibly good crit rate if you raise her up, so the key is not to get hit. Here is Hooper. Hooper is a mythical Pokemon in the vein of, you know, Mew or Celebi or Victini, etc. Hooper is Dark and Ghost type, and is a crafty little genie who tears holes through the fabric of reality in order to jump dimensions. To represent that, we have... that is a Mii fighter wearing little devil horns to signify the evil nature. I feel like you maybe could have done a little better costume-wise, but he's also throwing around hoops and a launch star with the hopes of either smacking me in the face or immediately blasting me off stage. Thankfully, the warp star doesn't last long, and I also get boomerangs as my own little hoops. That or I could just spam my counter-attack, which I'm usually really bad at doing with the Lucario. Case in point. Okay, let's not mess about anymore. Let's take down Hooper. Fun thing about Hooper is it's one of the few mythical Pokemon with an alternate form. Anyway, moving on from that note, here are the hockey players from the NES game Hockey. I got given the NES hockey game as part of my Nintendo subscription. I played it at random with a friend of mine, a friend named Fitzwilliam Ramsbottom, you may know him. And I tell you what, we had way more fun with the game than we thought we would. In the game Hockey, you get 3 different types of player. You can allocate all your hockey players to be any one of these types. You get a fast skinny one, an average one, and a slow but powerful fat one. And that's why we have these 3 different characters filling those 3 different roles. Also, it's slippery because ice. So yeah. Here's Paper Bowser, the major antagonist, or one of the major antagonists of the Paper Mario games, although he is briefly playable in Paper Mario 2, weirdly. Anyway, it's Bowser. It's Bowser that we all know and love, although with a more comedic edge. But that said, in this particular battle, after a while, Bowser will grow... Oh. Well, if he didn't kill himself, we would have grown invincible to signify his star rod in the first game. Here is Abra. Abra is a Psychic-type Pokemon from Generation 1. Later evolves into Kadabra and Alakazam. And Abra's whole gimmick is that unless you teach it moves, it only ever learns how to teleport itself. Just thwip itself away with psychic powers. And that's what the summoned Abra here is intent on doing to me. So long as I get too close to it. So, I'm just going to take out this Mewtwo, who's the Abra stand-in. And I've only got so much time to do it to signify the fact that... Oh, thanks, Venusaur. If you wanted to catch an Abra, you'd have to do it before he teleports away. Here is Leon Powalski. Leon Powalski is one of the members of Star Wolf. And, yeah, not much more to him than that. He's got a bit of an ego on him. He's a chameleon. And, yeah, this fight is basically a battle against Star Wolf, where I have Falco on my side, much like how Fox would. And I'm battling both Leon and Wolf himself. That said, I just need to keep Falco alive, because... in so many missions, in Star Fox 64 at the very least, keeping allies alive is necessary to maintain the best ending or take the best route in the game. So yeah, get dead, Wolf. This is Kip from Donkey Kong Jet Race. He is essentially Diddy Kong's counterpart, a little Kremling version of Diddy Kong. Kind of adorable, I'm not gonna lie. Quite a cute character design. But, yeah. Much like the battle with Calypso, there's not much more to this one. He has a rocket belt because he appears in a racing game where you fly around on little barrels. And, yeah, a couple of shocks later. Wow, I actually broke your shield there. That's pretty wild. Yeah, we should be able to clear these guys out relatively easily. There goes one. There's two. I'm really, really digging the thunder. It's like I'm playing Smash Bros. Melee all over again as a, you know, young teen. Not really knowing how to play the game and spamming my most powerful move repeatedly. Or what I thought was my most powerful move. Here is Dr. Shrunk. Dr. Shrunk is a comedian and entertainer from the Animal Crossing series. He occasionally appears at the Marquee in Animal Crossing City Folk. The Marquee being a comedy club. So, yeah, this is a timed battle. I guess, you know, to signify how he only appears in the game at very, very rare intervals and for brief periods of time. It's quite hard to come across him. And, yeah, we're also on the Cityville stage, or the Smashville stage, showing off that whole big city, or village, or town, whatever you really want to call it. And banana peels, because you know what? Classic comedy. Look at them banana peels falling on the floor, ready for some goober to trip over them. Get sliced, Doctor. Doctor of Comedy. Your taunts mean nothing to me. In fact, they're giving me an opening to kill ya. Oh, fucking hell, how are you not dead yet? Look at that percentage. Fuck me, how are you not dead yet? Oh, God. Oh my God, you shot the banana at me. That is hilarious. Well done. Get dead. This is Numdiddly, the mascot of Make 10, a journey of numbers, an edutaining puzzle game for the Nintendo DS. So yeah, as you can tell from his very basic design, it's just a little 2D figure, hence why Game & Watch is playing. And the assist trophy that will be appearing is essentially a bunch of numbers from his game, which will float around the screen, and if they make 10, they explode. I love that. I love that it goes from education to, you know, pure damage. The latent power of numbers. And yes, you can knock the numbers into other numbers in order to get your desired explosions. Here is EGGy. EGGy, although it looks like a water type, is a dark and psychic type Pokemon. a squid who is deceptively evil and malicious and mean-spirited. You evolve it, or at least you evolved it in Pokemon X, Y, Sun and Moon by leveling it up to level 30 while your DS is flipped upside down, at which point it shows its true colours and becomes Malabar, one of the most evil Pokemon in both design and execution of all time. So yeah, that's Inkay being played by the Inkling, which, you know, great casting. I like that the Inklings can basically play any cephalopod character, and it just works. It makes sense. But with all their ink attacks and their full-on squid form. I'm just trying to get this 9 to come out. I'm trying to land a number 9. It's luck-based, but it's satisfying. Here is Dr. Loeb, more edutainment. Dr. Loeb is the mascot of the Big Brain Academy games. A bunch of DS games, once again. The DS loved its edutainment, which were more focused on building your IQ, or your problem-solving skills. And while we're here, I may as well go on that tangent. IQ does not measure your intelligence. It measures your problem-solving skills. If you taught your IQ as a signifier that you're more intelligent than someone, ironically, that makes you an idiot. Don't do that. I don't think anyone who watches me does that, but don't do that. There's no actual basis. There's no correlation between those two things. Anyway, high gravity, and you know what? I'm not gonna lie, that high gravity, flitting between high and low, in fact, actually kind of screwed me over the first time I did this battle. I ended up dropping myself off an edge, so yeah. And I guess that's the idea of the high and low gravity alternating, is that you have to quickly adapt to different situations, much like how you have to adapt to all the different puzzles to, you know, maximize that good IQ. Here is Chandelier. So Chandelier is a Ghost and Fire-type Pokemon introduced in Generation 5, the evolved form of Litwick and Lampent. Chandelier is the prime example of how inanimate object Pokemon aren't always bad. In this case, it's very, very fucking good. I love Chandelier. It is such a good Pokemon in its core concept. It is basically a chandelier that represents a pyre. You know, because there is a link between death and fire. Not much more I can say without insta-killing him. Here is Bass from the Mega Man games. Going with the whole theme of, you know, rock and roll. Bass, being one of the main antagonists of the Mega Man series, is paired up with his pet dog, Treble. Bass and Treble. Gotta love how adorable that is. So, yeah, I'm gonna come right at you with my own Robot Master, or Mega Man antagonist, Proto Man, even though I don't actually have him yet. The joys of sequence breaking. So, yeah, Bass is one of the few characters in the Mega Man series who starts evil, and kinda stays evil for the most part. He appears occasionally as a playable character, but even in those cases, he's doing it to spite Dr. Wily, his creator, not out of any sense of goodness. He is just a full-on self-serving shitlord at the best of times, so yeah. And you know what, I dig that. It's nice to have a Mega Man villain who is more robotic than human. Just a robot who is, in his very design, built to be a dick. And there he goes. Nope, completely whiffed that. Here he goes. Here he goes. Fuck me. Here he goes. There he is. This is Nino from Fire Emblem The Blazing Blade. So, she is the mother of both Ray and Lou, who appear in the prequel game. But in Blazing Blade itself, she has a very interesting arc. She starts off as a somewhat antagonistic character, being raised by the Black Fang, a group of assassins and murderers. And she's actually kidnapped away from them and rescued into the party by a turncoat named Jafar. Anyway, she loves her wind magic, hence why she's spamming Elwind. Here is the Mokiwi from Hey Pikmin for the 3DS. Hey Pikmin, unlike the rest of the Pikmin series, is a 3DS platformer game, and the mock Kiwis would appear in it as a bunch of generic enemies, or relatively generic enemies, who would, upon seeing you, chase down your Pikmin and try to take you down. That said, this battle is super fucking easy because it gives you a partner, as if you needed it. Here is Carmilla from Castlevania. So Carmilla is an animated vampiric mask, being essentially controlled or piloted by a vampiress who is loyal to Dracula and appears in many different incarnations in Castlevania. But I think the most prominent one, what with this mask here, is prone to crying tears of blood and flitting in and out of invisibility. Genuinely one of the more horrifying Castlevania enemies, in my opinion. And, yeah, this battle, you have to keep a very close eye to try and spot her. Here is Eliwood, back to Fire Emblem Blazing Blade. He is the main character of that game, the father of Roy, who in Smash will be playing him. Eliwood is, well, he's a heroic character who wields the legendary sword Durandal. And the reason that we've got all of this floor on fire right here is most likely to signify the fact that Eliwood, within the plot of that game, is most likely to get with the character Ninian, who, spoilers, is revealed to be a dragon. I'd say half-dragon? No, I think she's just a straight-up dragon, so yeah. Hence the fires. The fires represent dragon fire. Last of all, let's upgrade Paper Bowser into his final form in Sticker Star. I never played that game because it was kind of rubbish.